Hello everyone, welcome back to Easy Education London, and this is our predictions for the GCSE English language paper taking place this Thursday. Now before we get started, don't forget to press the subscribe button, like and share the video, and I'd also like to thank you all for your continuous support. So what I want to do in this video is go over the past paper questions that have come up from June 2023 all the way down to June 2017. And what I do want to do is go over the trends, the patterns, and provide you with my predictions of some possible questions that may arise. Now, if we start with June 2023, so that was exactly 1 year ago, the extract that they were provided with was source A. Now, the extract provided last year for source A was a 21st century prose fiction, and it was specifically The Life of Pi by Jan Martel. And the first question was to list 4 things about hyenas from this part of the text. And you would know when you're listing, all you do is you literally list it. It says it in the question. Now, this question, to be honest, you all should be getting top marks for. I don't see why you would struggle with the first question. The second question is always the same. They'll always say, how does the writer use language to ... right? So as you can see from the question 2, use language, even if you go down to November 2022, June 2022, it's the same question. Question 3, as you can see here, let me just highlight this in blue. Every single year, okay, every single paper, for paper 1, is the exact same copy. It's how has the writer structured the text to interest you as a reader? All right. So the question 3, you know that even for your paper in May 2024 will be the exact same for question 3. So nothing changes. All they do, they literally copy and paste for question number 3. Remember, for question 2, it will be the exact same. It will be about language, but depending on the text, they'll ask you maybe about a character or the setting. Question 4, which is your evaluation, they'll give you specific lines. So if you take the June 2023 one, it's literally specific lines from line 20 to the end. So they will always give you a student statement and they will ask you to what extent do you agree. Now, can you disagree with it? No. Okay. The reason is they want you to agree with it. To what extent do you agree? Now, you could argue or you could discuss that you partially agree, or you could argue that you entirely agree. Now, whatever you believe, you need to show evidence. Otherwise, you cannot score the top marks. So that's your question 4. So what I would say for questions 1, 2, 3, and 4, to be honest, question 3 prediction, it will be the exact same, nothing different. Question 2, exactly the same on language, but it will either be on a character or the setting. Question 4, you'll be provided with the student statement. And then for question 5 is your narrative or your description. Now, if we look at the patterns, what you can see from the images, you've got a description of a zoo or wildlife park as suggested by this picture. So this, as you can see, is the picture provided. And then if you zoom out, November 2022, you have this picture of a fishing village. June 2022, June 2022, you have a picture of an unusual place to stay. And if I slide across, November 2021, you've got a place, a sunset. November 2022, you've got a picture of a mysterious place. November 2019 was to describe a place you think is beautiful. June 2019, it was to describe a marketplace, as you can see from the picture. November 2018 was to describe life as you imagine it in 200 years' time from the picture. And then June 2018, it was a description of an old person. November 2017, it was a story. Well, actually, it was 2 stories. Okay, so this is an important point to raise, is that they could give you 2 stories. Okay, possibly, because if you look here, if I just highlight, I just wanted to show you all the patterns and trends. November 2017, you had a story come up not once, but also twice. So to those of you who have a preference of choosing the description, just a reminder, it could be, they decide to give you two narratives because it hasn't come up in a long time. So that's something you need to be aware of. And then June 2017, it was to describe your journey as suggested by this picture. Now, to those of you doing the description, you have to use your five senses, you have to use show not tell, you have to use ambitious vocabulary, and you have to use a variety of language devices. So my prediction here, I would say personally, the first one is a modern image. Okay, so June 2017. November 2017, it's nature. 2018 is a character. November 2018 is a setting. 2019 June is a setting. 2019 November is just a picture of this girl with this crystal ball. November 2020, so you could say that's a character. November 2020 setting. November 2021 setting once again. June 2022 setting, November 2022 setting, and also June 2023 setting. So my prediction is that there's a possibility that the image provided, so I'm just going to highlight this, right? My prediction for question 5 is that the image provided in your exam this Thursday may not be of a setting. It could actually be a picture of a character or someone of a specific character. Okay, so for example, if you look at June 8, 2018, that was really, well, actually, if I go back to November 2019, you've got this picture of this character, and also June 2018. But generally speaking, they give you pictures of settings. So a good shout to those of you doing the description. I would say maybe practice. I'm just going to write this down. Hang on, let me just rub this out. Let's do it in blue. Question 5, a possible prediction. The image provided, okay, to those of you doing the description, it can be of a character or a person or even an animal, okay? It could be a human. It could be an animal, okay? Again, could you be provided with a picture of a setting? Yes. Possibility. But I reckon it's actually going to be of a character, because if you look at the trends, the exam board don't just want to give you a picture of a setting over and over again. They want to switch it up sometimes. So it could be that this year they try to switch it up, okay? So that's my predictions on the description. And yeah, so that's that. Now, if you would like to get extra support and guidance from expert and qualified teachers, do consider joining our online classes at Easy Education London. We have amazing teachers supporting and guiding students to achieve fantastic results in their exams. If you are interested, spaces are limited. Do contact our website, www.easyeducationlondon.com. And what we can do in those lessons is we go over model answers, we provide cheat sheets, etc. So join today, as we have plenty of resources for you to use. Anyways, back to the video. That is your question 5. Okay, so to those of you who preferred the description, I know recently on my TikTok live, many of you have asked, sir, should I do the description? Should I do the narrative? Now, the answer to that question is entirely up to you. If you prefer the description, then go for the description. If you prefer the narrative, you go for the narrative. So that's my prediction for your question 5 description. So let's see. Hopefully on Thursday I am correct. But definitely something for you to practice is the description of a character, but also the setting. Who knows, it could come up again. Now, moving on to the story. So let's have a look at the question 5 stories, your creative writing stories, and let's see if you can find any patterns or trends. So I would grab my highlighter. Let's use blue. Now, hang on, let's use green, okay? So June 2023, so last year, it was write a story about a human meeting an animal. Okay, so that was based on the life of Pi. November 2022 was to write a story about an unlikely friendship. To be honest, right, you can see a link between November 2022 and June 2023, right? It's very similar. Okay, let me know in the comments if you agree. But if you look at the question 5s here, do they look similar? Do they sound similar? Okay, these are very similar questions. I feel like the example just changed up the words, but that's something for you to consider. So, you probably won't have something like this in the exam. June 2022, it was to write a story about life-saving... Whoops. Okay, let me go back. Let's use a highlighter. It was to write a story about a life-saving rescue. So, again, something that you need to be aware of. Rescue. Now, if you have watched our grade 9 hack on how to guarantee marks for your creative writing, you realize there's some certain patterns that I've noticed, and it's something that I teach my own students. November 2021 is to write a story about a new beginning. November 2020, it was about an event that cannot be explained. November 2019, it was to write a story about a magical world, as suggested by the picture. June 2019 was to write a story with the title Abandoned. November 2018 was to write a story about time travel. June 2018, it was to write a story about a time when things turned out unexpectedly. 2017 November, it was to write a story set in a mountainous area, as suggested by this picture. And you know what's interesting? If you look at November 2017, if it was to write a story set in a mountainous area, to those of you who are good at describing and writing a good description, you could combine your descriptive paragraphs with your narrative, okay? And that would be an amazing question to do. And June 2017, it was to write a story about two people from very different backgrounds. Now, what I wanted to show you is a hack that you can use for your exam for this Thursday for English Language Paper 1. Now, that hack I've gone over before is basically for you to pre-plan your answer, okay, and memorize a generic story that you just tweak in the exam. So, for example, let's say if you memorized writing a story about an abandoned house, you'll have some positive paragraphs, you'll have some negative paragraphs. So what you do, if you write a generic description, okay, of the house, the sky, the sea, the river, the wind, your feelings, your emotions, think about it. Can you describe the sea, the sky, the river, the water, the sun, the wind in any story? The answer is yes. Will you go through positive or negative and negative emotions in any story? Yes. So what I am saying is if you memorize those positive and negative paragraphs, generic, then that would be a solid base for any story. And all you do is you tweak it to help you answer the question, and that's it. So let's take, for example, the one I teach my students. If you memorize writing a grade 9 story about an abandoned house, being stranded in an abandoned house. Now, let's see how it can fit in every single past paper question from June 2023. This is the actual proof, and you'll see how I use it, okay? I'm literally going to explain to you. I'm not going to write because otherwise the video is going to be literally 1 hour, and I'm sure many of you don't want to watch a 1 hour video because I do. I know I don't. But yeah, June 2023, write a story about a human meeting an animal. So if my students had memorized a story about an abandoned house, within that story, can you have an interaction between a human meeting an animal? Yes, the answer is yes, absolutely. So you can have the same generic story, that same body. All you do is you tweak it, and that's it. That's how you get your grade 9. Okay? So if you do that for every single past paper, you'd have memorized something and you can use it in the exam. November 2022, write a story about an unlikely friendship. Same concept. If you memorize the story about the abandoned house, you can tweak it and include another character in your story, and maybe you have this friendship with a character which is an animal, okay? If you're in an abandoned forest, it could be, it could be a bat, okay? And you start communicating with this bat. It's an unlikely friendship, okay? And that is literally you answering the question. 80% of it you would have already memorized and pre-planned before going into the exam. And to those of you who I teach, I would have marked your drafts and you'd be ready to go for your exam. And those are grade 9 paragraphs. Okay, so June 2022, write a story about life-saving rescue. Same concept. If you memorize the story about an abandoned house, all you do is you tweak it and make sure that it's answering the question, and you've got this element of a life-saving rescue. So if you're in an abandoned house, something happens, and let's say, for example, there's this intruder, they're attacking you. You find the sharp object, and you defeat the enemy or the intruder, and you rescue yourself and your friends, then that is a life-saving rescue. So that's a simple example, and so on and so on. Write a story about a new beginning. Yes, same concept. If you're in an abandoned house, you you're starting a new life because you realize you are sick and tired of the city life, and you found this abandoned house and it hasn't been occupied by a family, and you realize you want to have a new beginning, and that's your story. So GC, you get the point I'm trying to make. It works with every question, and in fact, go back to June 2019. You have literally a story which exam board asked students to write with the title Abandoned. Look how well it fits with all these questions. There's always a way for you to fit this with the question, and literally, honestly, this is one of the most important advice I would give to my year 10s and year 11s. And to those of you who I teach, I'm sure you know how I go on about this on and on, because honestly, it guarantees you easy marks and it helps you pass your exams. I've seen my own students go from as low as a grade 2 and 3 all the way up to a grade 7, 8, and even 9. Okay. And it's a proven and tested method, and it works every single year. So what are you waiting for? Start today. Start pre-planning your stories and get those grade 8s and grade 9s, and let that allow you to have a fantastic, fantastic future. So that is it for today's video. These are my predictions for your extracts. The extract itself, I can't predict, unfortunately, because that's really difficult. But regardless, the insert that they provide you with on Thursday, it will have a variety. It will have a numerous number of language devices. It will have a numerous number of structural devices. So it's not like they're going to give you something challenging, because they need to cater the exam for everyone. So don't panic about that. So these are my predictions, okay? Especially for the question 5, the description, but also the narrative as well. Regardless what they give, I've gone over the hacks as well in terms of what you need to succeed. So that is my full plan. And don't forget to follow us on TikTok, Instagram, on YouTube. Do subscribe and like and share our videos, as it does really help our channel grow. Thank you all for the continuous support. It has truly been amazing. And some of you are wondering, hang on, but sir, are you sure it will work? Absolutely. Look at all the questions. If you're unsure, let me know in the comments and I'll try my best to answer. But honestly, it works with every single question. So personally, right, another question I get a lot is, sir, should I do the description? Sir, should I do the narrative? The honest answer is up to you. But personally, if I was doing it, I would actually write the story. Okay. The reason is it's more open, there's more to talk about, and you're not limited. Whereas the description, I feel like you are limited to an extent. Okay. There's not as much freedom compared to writing your narrative. And yeah, don't forget to plan your question 5. I can't stress this enough. Plan. Okay. Planning is key. Planning is super, super important. So take 5 minutes for your plan, okay, in the exam. But planning, honestly, is super important. Think about your 5 senses and also think about your 5 W's, okay? Apologies for my dodgy handwriting, but you get the point. And if you are stuck in the exam, hopefully not. If you are stranded and you're thinking, hang on, I don't know what to say, just start describing using your senses, okay? That would be your best approach. And to those of you doing the story or the narrative, keep your story simple, okay? Don't have too many events, too many things happening. Otherwise, it affects the quality of your narrative, and at times it does make it sound confusing. So that is it for today's video. Slightly longer than usual, but importantly, I hope you found this video beneficial. Do give this video a like. We are doing a mega giveaway at 10k subs, so do help us reach 10,000 subs. That would be highly appreciated. So thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe, like and share for more educational content. Thank you.